and we're in business.
Hey guys, it's been a while, but joeteti and Dale Comstock here, and the reason we're making this video, Dale and I were talking earlier today, and we get a lot of questions about the Psychosoma Engineering part of our training that we do when we coach, and a lot of people have questions about it. And we're going to talk about it a little bit here and kind of clear up a few things that people may think and may not think. But the first thing I want to say, and Dale knows this, and it's kind of funny, is I've been doing this for years and really didn't even know what I was doing. I was kind of going through the paces, but I didn't know the science behind it, right? Until I met Dale. And then Dale started explaining it to me. And once he started explaining it to me, that's when it actually really, I really started seeing results. Before it was just kind of like, I don't know, maybe was that luck? Am I just in a good mood? I wasn't sure. I couldn't quantify it, Dale. You know what I mean? But then once I started understanding how it worked, I really started going, oh, holy shit, there's real science behind this. And it's fascinating stuff. So we're just going to talk for a little bit. And I've got a couple questions for Dale. Actually, I got some questions right here that people have asked me in the past. So Dale's the expert at this, guys. He's got his doctorate in natural health, and I'm kind of like learning as I'm going. But from 20 years ago, I was a 1, and now I'm like a 3. There's a lot to this. So the first question, Dale, that people ask me all the time is this just hocus pocus, like new mousetrap just to sell somebody a bag of goods? That's what I get all the time.
No, so here's what's funny. This is really ancient knowledge, okay? And what Psychosoma Engineering is actually a term that I created to describe this training that we do, that we provide. And so psycho, the mind, soma, the body, okay? Mind body integration, Psychosoma Engineering. And so this is nothing really new. However, for the average person out there, most people, in fact, I would say 99% of the people out there, maybe even more than that, have no idea what this means or how it works. But once they understand it, then really it opens all the doors, and success is right there for them to grasp. And so let me kind of dig into it just a little bit. What Psychosoma Engineering, what is that? It's not a way to think. It's it's how to think. Everybody will tell you what to think. Okay, we go to school and they tell you what to think, how to do the math, how to do this, what to think, but nobody tells you how to do it, how the science behind it. So, and I'll use, like, for example, some of these great niche coaches that are out there. I call them niche coaches, like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, right? They're very linear. They focus on like real estate and business and things like that, right? Success, rah, rah, rah. I made millions of dollars. And, if you do like I do, you can do the same thing. And then, people will ask, well, how do I do this? And they're full of doubt. And the response is visualize. You just got to visualize it. And right. Okay, I visualize. What does that mean? Right? They don't explain what that really means, right? Like, okay, if I told you to visualize something, you go, okay, I visualize. Okay, I'm visualizing myself doing it. Okay, I did it. Now what? Nothing's happening, because there's more to it than that, right? So there's a science that supports this. Visualization, imagination. There's so many terms for this thing, but basically, when you think of something, what you're doing is engaging the subconscious through the consciousness. And what you're doing is I call it neural mapping. You're basically programming your nervous system for success. The more you do it, okay, and another term I'll use is spinal tuning. It's myelination on the scientific level. You're thickening the myelin sheath on your nerves. Everything is energy, okay? And what I'm going to teach you, and what we're going to do out there for our clients, is we're going to show them how to think, okay? Not what to think, but how to think, so that they tune their nervous system for success. As you know, man, we've got clients that literally have been successful almost immediately. I mean, immediately, and I say immediately, within minutes, okay? And I got 1,000 freaking testimonials to support this, where guys have literally personally change their performance levels to a whole nother level. Okay. That's only one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, okay, so I can run faster, jump higher, whatever, lift more weights, I'm better at martial arts or whatever. I'm a better driver. I'm a better golfer. Okay. But what about, what about the Tony Robbins realm? I want to make more money. Perfect. Because there's another aspect to this where we'll show you how to actually create your success, okay, just by imagination, because everything is imagination. Albert Einstein said, if you want to be successful, get on success frequency. It's physics, it's not philosophy. Nikola Tesla, all the great physicists all know this. They know that our world goes around, everything we do, okay, is based on energy, frequency. Everything has energy. At the molecular level, everything has energy, and therefore, everything's interconnected. If everything's interconnected, everything's energy, then we should be able to influence our environment, because after all, really, that's all we are. We are simple carbon-based matter, okay, that functions because of energy that we create within. We're not plugged into a wall socket. We don't have a battery up our ass, okay? Right. We have the biochemistry within to create our own energy, just like, battery acid, okay? And that's what allows us to think, talk, see, move our arms, and function. Okay. So if it's energy and we can manipulate this energy, then we should be able to manipulate our performance. Okay. Conversely, and you said, we talked about this earlier, you said, if we have negative thoughts, which is negative energy, okay, we downregulate genes, we create disease, and we actually impede or reverse performance capability. I mean, how many people do you know out there that are sick or are always stressed out and depressed and upset, and then they're sick? Their life is shit, right? Because there's negative thoughts, there's negative energy. There's a thing called neuro-linguistic program. Words have meaning. If you're running around always beating yourself up, you're going to be beat up, right? But if you're walking around praising yourself, speaking, thinking well of yourself, thinking about, your performance, thinking about the great things that are happening to you and going to happen to you, then through the laws of attraction, you're going to bring that to you.
That was one of the things. My next question, Dale, this guy asked me was, Joe, these emotional vampires, as we call them, the ones that put your fire out, can they really damage you if you don't pay attention to this? And, I say, absolutely. And I'll let you get into the science of it. But for people that are listening, if you've got these negative people like Dale was just talking about in your life that we call emotional vampires, that suck the freaking life out of you, they're the people that the glass is always half empty. They're perpetually pessimistic. If you say something to them that's positive, they're going to throw something back at you negative. I mean, and you probably know right now somebody like that. And I'll let Dale get into this, but these are people, you basically have three choices is, tell them about it and they change their negative ways around you. 2, you don't do anything about it and you can continue to suffer. Or 3, you just cut them away like a bad parachute and that's the end of it. So, but anyway, yes.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about that for a minute. When people have negative thoughts, they say negative things, thoughts, words, all are negative energy. And so let me kind of break that down to a little bit more a scientific level. All right. So what I'm doing right now internally, I'm creating my own power, energy, frequency, okay, which is allowing me to think like a computer, right? A computer doesn't function unless it has electricity. All right, it ain't thinking with the power off. You got to put power to it for it to function. Same thing with us. I got to send power to the brain for it to function and start thinking. Now, guess what? I'm thinking thoughts. As I'm sitting here thinking these thoughts, what I have to do now is activate the vocal cords, okay, in the voice box, which now does what? It vibrates the air. Frequency, I have wavelength and frequency, okay, at different intervals, just like a radio. When you key the mic on a radio, okay, that frequency goes up and down the radio, the antenna, and it vibrates the air, just like throwing a rock in the water, you get ripples, same thing, okay? You're a radio receiving on the other end, okay? Basically through your ears, okay, your parabolics here on the side, you're trapping these frequencies, okay? You're taking them in, you're interpreting them in your mind, you're assigning every part of that wavelength, okay, of that frequency, you're assigning it a meaning, a word, a thought, a letter, a number, okay? And that's what we call language. If I were to talk to you right now, because I know you don't speak Russian, but if I just, all of a sudden I started speaking Russian, you'd be like, what in the hell? You wouldn't understand a damn thing I said until you start adding, you can start now defining different parts of that frequency and assigning a meaning to it, that tone. Okay, go, okay, this means that, that means that, that means that. And now guess what? You're starting to interpret what I'm saying, and now we're communicating. Okay, but we're communicating because of frequency, and we've added definition or meaning to every part of that frequency that's coming out there. Okay, I'm basically vibrating the air. And funny thing is, right now I'm doing it through my computer system, through a microphone to you, through my computer. All right, through the internet, through a Wi-Fi router to your Wi-Fi router, outside your computer, out the speaker into your ears. It's called, and it's, guess what? It's because of frequency, it's vibration. Everything we do is frequency and vibration. And I'll give you another example. We see each other right now. Guess what our eyes are? Our eyes are photoreceptors. What do they pick up? They pick up color, black and white and color. On the electromagnetic spectrum, light is visible energy that we can see. It has its own frequencies. Okay. The only one we really don't see is infrared. But guess what? We have equipment, radio spectrometers, things like that can actually see infrared. Okay, so we know it because it's a frequency. That's what it's picking up. It's not because the mechanism has an eyeball. Okay, it's because it has a means to pick up that frequency and interpret it. We do the same thing. So as we're looking at each other right now, we're taking in trillions of bytes of bits of information. Okay, of color frequency, and we're putting it together like a puzzle. And we're doing this like super fast, right? Like quantum computers, like thousands of them at one time. And we're creating images of ourselves, our background. I see the plaque on the back of your wall. I see all these things. I see the blue color on the wall. You see me. There's a lot going on there, but it's because of frequency that our eyes are picking up, and they're putting all this together. The nose does that as well. This is where I go into canine olfaction. That's why I've been training canines for explosives and things. We have proprioceptors. Our fingers pick up frequency. When we touch things, it's because we're picking up frequency. Okay, they're called afferent signals. Afferent, and then when we react, it's called efferent. We know that everything is frequency. So, with that said, some would say, well, because they can't get their head around the science. Okay, right. And they'll go, oh, they'll roll their eyes like it's some kind of psychobabble and bullshit.
Exactly.
Right? And I challenge everybody out there that, thinks they're full of shit. Let me see your credentials. Let me see what you've achieved in life, and you stack it up against mine or yours. Right. And let's do a comparison. And we know already what we did. First of all, I wasn't gifted. Okay.
Me either.
I wasn't gifted. My father had an 11th grade education. My mom had a 9th grade education. Nobody on either side of my family had a college degree. My dad joined the Army when he was 17. I followed his footstep. I was a little dude. My dad and mom were both 5'4". Can you believe that? I was born to munchkins, man. And, I'm 6 foot myself and over 200 pounds, but, everything I had to do, and it was really a discovery when I was 15. I stumbled across something almost out of necessity, man. I was in panic mode when I learned something, and it really changed my life. Overnight, I changed my life. And this event that happened to me has really has mapped out my entire life. It's because of that day when I was 15 years old that I've been able to achieve everything I've achieved today, because I learned something. I didn't know I had a name. I didn't know it was a thing. Didn't know it was a science. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything, but I knew one thing: it worked. What I did worked, and I kept doing it. And we were talking earlier. I was the youngest guy to make it through Delta Force at the age of 23. The minimum age is 22. The average age of a guy making it through was 33. I had 4 years in the Army. I was a young kid, man, with no experience, was not Green Beret, was not a Ranger like most. I was just right out of there. I was a grunt. My job was to dig holes and fill them back up and clean my M1600 tree for 3 days. That's what I was good at. And so, I made it to the unit. I didn't make it to the unit because I worked harder than everybody else. I did work hard, but really there's something different that I did that I know nobody else did, except for the guys that made it alongside me. And I'll give you an example. There's 2 selection courses a year. My selection course just happened to have 110. Normally it's 100 candidates. This one had 110 for whatever reason. Of the 110 of us that went through, 6 of us completed it and 3 of us got selected. Okay. Me, the youngest guy ever. And it's not because I'm Superman. I was 164 pounds. Okay. My rucksack was always 85 plus pounds on my back. I wasn't big. I wasn't super strong. But I had something that I think gave me the advantage. Okay. And it was a way of thinking. All right. It was not what to think. It was how I was thinking that got me through the other. And that's a whole long story in and of itself.
Right.
But it works because what we're actually doing now is we are affecting our nervous system. We are manipulating the nervous system, both for personal performance, and we can do it for professional performance. We can do it future tense. Okay. We talked earlier. Listen, dude, I live in Panama City Beach, Florida. I've got a business here. I've got a business in Bali, Indonesia. I have a home there. I've got a home in the Philippines. I travel around the world. I do business around the world. I don't do all this because I was a Delta Force operator. The reason I was a Delta Force operator is because of the guy that I am and what I had learned when I was 15. Okay. That allowed me to be a Delta Force operator, a Green Beret, and achieve all the things I've achieved in life. Okay. And it's not because, I was gifted, like I said earlier, gifted with some kind of superpowers or high intelligence. I know what my IQ is. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not Albert Einstein. And that don't even matter, right? Because it's not always about academic intelligence. It's about effective intelligence.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. Common sense, for those that don't know what effective intelligence is, common sense, street smarts. Right. But it's a way of thinking that adjusts your nervous system, literally adjust your nervous system. It's science that supports this. And by the way, all of this is supported by science, all of it. Okay. This is not my experience, is supported by science. Okay. And the science supports my experience. And and same thing with you. You've done all these things. Okay. You didn't know what the name of it was, but you knew by thinking about it a certain way that it created your reality. And here's the news, the sad news. Only 1% of the world's population, 1%, up to 2%. Some statistics say 2, some say 1. I'm going to go with the 1%. Are living the dream. In other words, they've self-actualized. Okay, meaning they are. When I ask some person, what is your dream life? And they name off all this stuff. Yeah, I would like to have this kind of car, live in this mansion, living here and doing this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why aren't you? Right. And then all the excuses come out. The dream killers got in the way. I'm married, I got kids, I got this, I got that, I got sick, I got no money, blah, 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 blah. Right. So dream killers, they're bound, right? They're all over the place. You call it, emotional vampires. Those are right up there with the dream killers, man. It's actually a function of Murphy's law. That dude's always pitting against us, man. He's always conniving and, plotting against us. But at the end of the day, you and I are one of the 1%ers because of the lifestyle we have created for ourselves. I mean, Christ, you're on Discovery Channel for 5 years, I mean, how many people get to say that? I was on Discovery Channel. We've both been on television, right? A lot. We've done a lot of things in our life. We've been with some of the most elite units in the world. We've gone down that road, not because we were gifted or because people gave us something or anything like that. We got where we are in life today, and where we're going to go in life is because not what we think, but how we think.
It's funny, guys. One of the things Dale was just talking about was this self actualization, and if don't take our word for it, pull up Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Right? It's a pyramid, and it basically starts at the end and it goes through this whole process. But it's really interesting reading. I've been reading a lot about it, and there's another guy named Rogers that came after Maslow. But anyway, read about this stuff. If you want to be a person that, operates at, optimal levels, you gotta, your body, your whole being has to be in balance, right? You have to be in congruency with everything, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. And it's tough. I lived a lot of my life completely out of balance, where maybe I had all of this on one side and this, but the scale was like this. It wasn't like this. And the closer you can get the scale to balance, at least in my experience, that's when the magic starts to happen. And that's, it takes work. I mean, Dale's saying, working hard, working smart. It takes work. It takes discipline. And you can't just do this every now and then. Like the other question this guy was asking me was about positive affirmations. And so Maslow actually said in 1947, that your subconscious mind talks to you about 400 to 800 words a minute. It's talking to you, just telling you shit. And it's what your brain needs to be saying to you. It's either good or bad. So the question was to this guy, to me, from this guy is, do positive affirmations actually work? And at night, if you hear them playing, is that bullshit or is it real? Well, I know it works, but give us the nickel tour on why.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. So, and it just happens to be relevant right now in my life. So, about a month ago, my wife was literally in a parked car at night, making a left-hand turn in the center turn lane. She was a passenger and was hit by a police car at 90 miles an hour, an undercover police car in a high-speed chase, this drug deal gone bad. The felon that was running, he set this accident up. It was all calculated, and a police officer made a miscalculation as well, and literally rear-ended my car, at my wife's car, or her friend's car, at 90 miles an hour. It flipped her car around 3 times, flipped the police car, crushed everything, put them all in the emergency room. But anyways, so she's still alive. She's okay for the most part. She's got, of course, a lot of injuries, you can imagine, spinal injuries. But one of the side effects has been she's super traumatized by this. My wife is, as you know, Joe, my wife's from Indonesia. She's very small, very frail. This doesn't happen in Indonesia. Nobody drives faster than 30 miles an hour over there. And if you, it's a wreck, it's a motorcycle crash, you scrape your fucking knees, And so, so for her to go through this was just totally, unbelievable. So it's caused her to have trouble sleeping. She's literally woken up at night, completely paralyzed, can't move her arms and her legs, traumatized, nightmares every night. And she went to the doctor. They gave her various sedatives and, different types of, tropics and things like that, but they made her feel weird the next day, these different drugs and stuff, So what I actually ended up doing is what we've always done before. We just kind of got away from it for a minute, was, started running binaural tones at night. So while we sleep, I actually turn on binaural tones. So what are binaural tones? Binaural tones are frequencies, okay? And they're embedded in music, like very gentle type music, like, almost like elevator music, right? That actually sounds better than elevator music, but it's just, and it plays all night long, over and over in different songs, but it's blended very well. And if you listen closely, you can hear the tone in there, the frequency. And it's just a constant tone, okay? And different frequencies having a different effect on our psychology, on our mind, and on our body. In fact, I will share this with you. 528 Hertz has been shown to repair DNA, okay? I mentioned earlier, Albert Einstein said, if you want to be successful, get on success frequency. There you go. Well, what frequency is that? Therein is one of the secrets, but it's not really a secret. I know what it is. There's a range of frequencies. And, and you and I were talking earlier about, the alpha and beta and delta frequencies, right? So there's a point where when you sleep, you fall into a meditative mindset, so to speak, right? You're at a whole new level where you're more receptive to ideas, thoughts, and things like that. That's when people meditate, okay, they bring themselves down to that level, that frequency through meditation. To meditate means to become familiar with. So what are they doing? They're thinking about, whatever it is they want to work on in their life, or whatever they want to manifest. So these binaural tones, I was playing them, and my wife woke up actually this morning. She goes, man, I haven't had any nightmares. I feel so much better. And we do both sleep really well. We wake up like, wow, really early, like, ooh, really refreshed, because here's an example for all the military guys out there that are listening to this. Think about, if you've been on, I know you've been on aircraft, right? Military aircraft, but think about the times you're on a C-130, C-5, whatever, C-7, a different type of 141. What happens when you board an aircraft, a cargo aircraft particularly, especially if you were paratroopers? Remember, you get on, everybody's all ramped up, you got your stuff on, like, oh my God, we're going to jump out of an airplane, and you plop your ass down on the seat. They close the ramp, the APUs are running, right? You got the air conditioners running, the engines start whining. And what happens? You look around, everybody fell asleep. It's like, what's going on there? Everybody fell asleep because of we call it the white noise. It's actually frequency. That frequency actually calms us all down. I mean, think about it. You're getting ready to jump out of an airplane in the middle of the night at, 1,300 feet, and most people would be shitting bricks, right? But here you go. And even these paratroopers, we got brand new paratroopers that this is going to be jump number 6 for them, and they're sound asleep over there because these tones, right, these frequencies, put them to sleep. And then what happens? Check it out. Then right before it's jump time, the jump master stands up and he gives it, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And then everybody starts kind of coming to, but you're still like, I'm going to catch a couple more Z's. And then what happens? The door opens or the ramps go down. And now all of a sudden you got all this turbulence. You have a different frequency, right? And everybody's wide awake. Your heart rate starts going like, oh shit, you start breathing hard, right? Everything gets amped up. And now you're operating on another frequency, man. You're in fight or flight mode. Okay. You actually go into that mode. And so you go through the process, you jump out of the airplane, and then what happens? It's like you jumped out in outer space, really quiet. Even though you're in a parachute, you don't hear nothing. The airplane's long gone. You're in your parachute. It's just you, right? And then it's like calm until you start getting that ground rush. You get closer and you see the ground. Okay, you raise your own frequency. Like, oh crap, we're gonna hit. Tighten everything up. We're ready to do a PLF. Plop, plop, plop. You hit the ground, and then what do? We pop canopy risers. We stop, take a deep breath. We lay there for a second, and relax. Right? This is frequency working to us, honest, right? So, these affirmations that we use, right? These positive affirmations do work. Okay, why? Because positive affirmations are positive frequency. Okay, and here's the thing about positive affirmations: you cannot say, for example, I'm going to be happy today. No, you have to say, I am happy today, even though today just started. You got to say, I am happy today. And there's a reason for it. Okay. I won't get into it here, but there's actually a reason for it.
I was just reading about that today, Dale. It's the way you do self-affirmation.
It's right.
It's critical the way you say it. There can be no doubt in it. And like I said, you can go down a whole rabbit hole with that. But guys, here's the whole reason why Dale and I made this video tonight is because I've had a ton of people give me a ration of shit about it and kind of make fun of us and like, you guys are, you're just trying to sell a program. And it's, guys, do your own freaking homework. Okay. Read about this stuff yourself. Don't take Dale's doctorate or information and his success for word. Do your own homework. It's out there. And I've been studying it now after, Dale told me about this years ago. And I'm still a novice at it. There is so much information and it's technical and it's tedious, right? It's technical and it's tedious. You got to do it right. Just like anything else. If you do it right, it works. If you do it wrong, you're not going to get traction. You've got to do this stuff correctly.
Think about this, Joe. You and I, right? So we've been partners for a while. We've known each other since 2003, 2004. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time. But we've been through the roller coaster rides of, trying to build businesses and, things like that, which, okay, first of all, you and I have failed, and that's okay because failing is learning, right? And so we've learned a lot of stuff, and because that's how it works. Nobody ever wins the first time out. If they do, they haven't won yet. Okay. It's just an illusion. Eventually they're going to fail. They're going to go bankrupt, whatever the hell is going to happen to them. But you and I have, in the last year, we've gone down some pretty dark paths, and all of a sudden we're seeing light, like real light, like, you and I have been working on some business models that, are huge, man, multi-million-dollar models that are coming to fruition. We won't talk about all that out in open here, but we're standing on the cusp of major success on several different areas. And why did that happen? Because we kept the focus. All right. We didn't give up. Okay. But more importantly, we've had a dream, man. Your dream is how many years now? You've been dreaming this thing and working on it?
8 years.
Yeah. And your dream is starting to come to fruition because you never abandoned the vision, right? The willpower wanes. The philosophy is really relative to the philosopher. But at the end of the day, what's going to get you over that finish line is your vision. Right. Your dream. And that's what's happening here. That's what's happening to us all our lives. Yep. And, we have both, because we've talked about this in our other business, it's like, man, this is not working. What's going on here? We feel like, somebody threw a wall up there, a dream killer, right? Somebody put a landmine over here, and it's okay. Right. And I've always said this, hey man, just stay focused, stay confident, just do this or this, these are expectations, okay, when it comes to developing businesses. It's never going to be an easy ride. And that's why so many people, 99% of the population, give up, right? If you want to get to the mountaintop, you got to set your azimuth, which is what we've been doing. We have set an azimuth for a long time. We've had to deviate a little bit left and right, get around these obstacles. But what we never did goes, fuck, man, there's a minefield in front of us. I give up. That's it, quit. And we go deviate to the left, right. And we're all over the map of life. And we never get to the mountaintop. And then it's too late to get to the mountaintop. And we die old men at the bottom of the valley going with everybody else, all the other bones down there, so fuck, because we gave up. And that's
a lot of wealthy people, Dale, and I've said this to you, a lot of wealthy people that I've met and just in meeting and reading about, they've all said the same thing. You may be this close to failure, but if you just get around that next bend, poof, something's going to happen. And that's happened with us. And it's taken a while.
But here's the thing, Joe. Here's the thing, just so everybody doesn't misunderstand us. It has zero to do with willpower. I'm going to say that again. It has
nothing.
Zero.
To do with willpower. Zero.
You go, well, I'm just going to keep on going until I get around that corner. It doesn't work that way. No. It doesn't work that way. I'll quote Emil Koo. When willpower and imagination are in conflict, imagination always wins. Right. Okay? Because willpower wanes, dude. I gave a story of this on a podcast the other day where it's selection, right? I'm the youngest guy that makes it 23. And guess what? I'm standing in a farm field up to my knees in mud, and I had nothing left in the tank. And I stood there and cried like a little girl, and I wanted to go home. I'd had enough. I wanted to tap out. And as I stood there in the rain, the mud, the clouds, and I didn't know what my objective was, I'm like, well, Comstock, nobody's coming for you. Nobody's going to come and get you. There's only one way out of here, and you're going to have to get yourself out of here. And so I had to rely on the imagination again. That was look, there was nothing left in my body. It was destroyed. Okay. The willpower was gone. It was gone. What got me out of that mud that day, got me literally to the top of a mountain. All right. Was not willpower. It was the imagination. And the funny thing was, I imagined getting to the top and quitting, getting on the truck in a warm truck, going home, right? But when I got to the top, I go, all right, I'm at the top. Why would I quit now? I'm on the top of the mountain. I can roll back down. So I didn't quit, right? I remember the dream. I stuck to the imagination, and here I am, youngest guy ever become a Delta Force operator at the time. I don't know about now.
And it's so funny. And I think this is a really good note to end on, because a lot of people are going to think, well, these guys just got mad willpower, and that's what you may think. That's what the average person thinks, but it's really not that. It's If you dummy it down, it has nothing to do with that. And guys, this is the stuff that Dale and I've learned a tremendous amount from Dale in regards to this subject, because I don't have his education or knowledge. But this is fascinating stuff. And it's like playing with a new toy, and the toy actually makes your life better. And the more you're messing around with this stuff and figuring out how the pieces go together, and finding that congruency in your life where your mind, body, and spirit, not like Dale says, not the Holy Ghost spirit, but that vibration, that ether, when you learn how these things actually work together, the little light bulb will go off and you'll be like, I get it. And it happened to me not long ago, but it takes time. But do your homework. But this is one of the things that Dale and I teach in our coaching classes, and we really deep dive this stuff a lot more than we can in a 30-minute podcast here. But anyway, guys, if you're interested, in learning more about this and how to work at an optimal level, and guys, there's a difference between peak performance and optimal performance, right? And I'll just say this and we'll end it. Everybody thinks that we're like running on peak performance. You cannot sustain peak performance day after day after day after day. You want to run optimally. So when you run optimally, you can always shift up to peak performance and then drop back down to optimal. It's like a business person that owns a business and they're coming out with a new product and they work for 18 hours a day for 5 days in a row. They can't sustain that, right? That's peak performance. So we're going to teach you how to do this. We're not just going to give you these tools and say, here's a whole freaking toolbox full of shit. What do you do with it? We're going to teach you how this shit works and how each piece fits together. And that's the magic. I just didn't know years ago how these pieces fit together. I couldn't figure it out because it's a lot of brainiac shit. I mean, it's a lot smarter men than myself and Dale came up with this shit, right? but there's science behind it. But anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, just go to Tier 1 Performance Coaching, send us an email. We'll get back to you within 24, 48 hours. And, hope to hear from you.
All right, guys. Good night.
Cheers.